Hi everyone, it's Christine here and welcome to my YouTube channel, Ever After Paper Crafts. I am here today to share something that is new for my channel, but has become quite a bit of an obsession for me, and that is the creation of junk journals. I have had the best teacher. Her name is Liz Smith. She goes by Mrs. Gogh here on YouTube and on Etsy, and I cannot recommend her classes enough. She also has an Etsy shop where you can order her classes, and then the classes are on a website called Teachables. And she also has lots of digital images, and I used a lot of her images plus some of my own for this Van Gogh junk journal that we're going to flip through today. So wonderful teacher, wonderful person. I will link below to her Etsy shop so you can take a look at all the wonderful classes that she has. I could not have made this journal without her, that is for sure. So this is a journal that I made to celebrate my absolute favorite painter, one of them. Anyway, I have so many, but this is Vincent van Gogh. This is dedicated to him. This journal will be for sale, and I gotta tell you, it was a very hard decision for me to decide to part with this one because I really put a lot of time and sweat into this journal, but I am going to go ahead and sell it. So I will have it for sale in my Etsy shop, but if it's not up at the time if it's not up in my Etsy shop yet by the time this video goes live on YouTube and you're really interested, I'll have my email in the description box of the video below, so you can just email me and we can take care of the transaction that way as well. All transactions will be done through PayPal, through an official invoice and that sort of thing. Okay, so here is the journal and here is the cover, and as you can see, it's a fabric covered journal that I did make by hand. Covered it with fabric here, and then I put this beautiful, my favorite Van Gogh image, Starry Night, on the front. There is so much stitching in this journal. Also, I used my sewing machine quite a bit for this journal. I added some cheesecloth that has been dyed blue behind the image and then sewed it onto some canvas fabric. I also have a Tim Holtz little word charm, or whatever you want to call it here, that says life is about creating yourself. And then I added this beautiful lace. I will pop a link below to the Etsy shop where I got this. It's SM Tiffany Lane, and I'll pop that link below. But look how gorgeous this lace is. It just went perfectly with the fabric. So I just used some Fabri-Tac glue to glue this beautiful lace down. And then as you can see from the front here, I have also used a coilless paper safety pin here to add some beads, as well as a charm that says when it's dark, look for the stars, which I just thought was perfect given Van Gogh's love of the night and of stars and all of his starry paintings. I also have a detachable tassel here on the side. So this is what it looks like attached to the book. As you can see, I've added some sari silk, which is some beautiful silk. It comes in batches from India. I will link below to the Etsy shop where I get my sari silk. It's fantastic. It's also what I used for the bow closure here on this journal as well. And so I will link you to that shop. It's the Victorian Gypsy Girl on Etsy, and it's just fabulous. So as you can see, I have lots of beads here on this removable tassel. And I also have a Tim Holtz charm, which says, in every walk with nature, one receives far more than they seek. And he certainly loved nature and flowers. He was really a kindred spirit. I think that's why I love him so much. I have a lot in common with Mr. Van Gogh. So anyway, let's go ahead and remove the tassel. I'll kind of give you a better look at it, and then it'll be easier to flip through the journal. So here is the tassel. I've got lots of ribbons, as I stated, lots of beads, and then these little flower lace and this lace were tea dyed. So they were dyed in hot tea and then dried, air dried, so they have a nice kind of off-white look to them, which is very nice. And then when I place this back on the journal, I try to kind of put the beads so they shine. So I sort of just play around with the lace and the ribbon until the beads are up front. But it really doesn't matter. You can see them all lovely when it's attached to the journal. I just use here a Oh gosh, my brain just went blank. Oh my goodness. One of these clips here that we use for jewelry making, and then this is just a binder clip from Tim Holtz that attaches it to the spine. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside, and then I'm going to show you the journal. Here it is from the top. Whoops, paper clip came off. We will find where that goes as we flip through the journal here. So here's what it looks like from the top. As you can see, this is a chunky one. I added so many beautiful pictures and tuck spots and pockets and things because I just couldn't not do so. There's so many beautiful works of art of his that I just had to include a lot. As you can see, I have a lot of paper clips coming off the top here. With some beautiful beads that kind of match the theme. Some stars. I don't know if you can see right there. I found some star beads. And then I just went with like a yellow, blue, and goldish theme for the colors for this journal. I also added some muslin, some ribbon here and there. And then as you can see from the side, I'm now going to untie the side here. It's sort of a double bow, so it takes a second to untie it. But once it's untied, you can see from the side here all the beautiful tabs and charms and beads that I have placed on the fabric tabs below, or on each page rather. So let me just zoom in quickly here. You can see we have a paintbrush charm here. We have a little charm here with a star. He loved his, oops, I'm off camera, I'm so sorry. He loved his stars, didn't he? And then we have up here a charm that is a paint palette with a paintbrush. And then I just am quickly showing you the charms, and then we'll do a full flip through. Here's some stars and a sunflower. Here is another sunflower. He sure loved his sunflowers, didn't he? Here's a little, just a little, charm that says dream. And then let's see here, a couple more charms I wanted to show you quickly here. We have this charm here, which is a pen. He wrote letters so often. He was a prolific writer, and his writing is actually gorgeous. I've read his letters, his book of letters that they've been able to preserve, mostly to his brother Theo, but also to other individuals, the painter Gogh, his sister, other painters. He really was a prolific writer, and he absolutely just loved to write, and he was good at it. Oh man, he could have written novels. I mean, he was just absolutely amazing. And then here's the last charm I wanted to show you, which is right here, and it's a little ink and quill. And that kind of goes along with the theme, of course, of his prolific letter writing. Okay, so here we are. Here's the journal. As you can see, it lays flat when it's opened. This beautiful sari silk here. We'll get this out of the way. All right, so here it is open. Alrighty, and then we're going to start from the beginning and just quickly flip through this. There's a lot to see, so I want to make sure we get through it all. On the inside front and back covers, I decided to add some fabric instead of paper. I usually add paper to the inside of my junk journal covers, but I found this beautiful fabric that is of his almond tree painting on Etsy, and I decided to use that instead. So I sewed it onto some canvas fabric and then glued it with Fabri-Tac onto the inside of the front cover. I have a little image here. This is one of my images, and I will have my images available that I downloaded and used for this project. They will be available on Etsy as soon as I can get them up. Here's a little lace pocket here that I just stuck a few things in, so the recipient of this journal will know that, hey, there's a pocket and I can put whatever I want in it. So here's page 1. And there's lots of quotes and stenciling on the pages. I won't read all of the quotes, but I will read this first one because it is one of my absolute favorites. And it says, for my part, I know nothing with any certainty, but the sight of the stars makes me dream. Now, it's all of the pages in this journal are tea dyed, they are baked, and then they are ironed. And then they have stenciling on them, some have stamping on them. I've sewn, as you can see, this beautiful image with some burlap behind it on this particular page. Some are less plain, you know, a little more plain than others. And I've also used washi tape throughout. I found some wonderful Van Gogh washi tape on Amazon, so I used that. Some pages I went ahead and just plopped in some of his sketches. He had some beautiful black and white sketches, and so I just added those straight to the pages before I tea dyed them, so they came out nice and tea dyed. Here's a beautiful lace pocket here. I also tea dyed all of my index cards, and some I sewed little images on, and you can of course journal on these as well as behind them on the page itself. This is just some design paper that I added. Here's a beautiful painting here. Beautiful quotes. Again, I'm not going to read them all. This is a pocket. As you can see, I've just added a little postcard and a little Van Gogh little flashcard there. This one says brush strokes. For the paintings that I chose, I added the titles of the paintings either on the back if they're paper clipped in, or sometimes I just glued them to the page of the journal that they are on. This one is Woman Sewing. This is one from Mrs. Cobb's shop. Same with this one, Prayer Before Meal. Here's that beautiful paintbrush charm along with all of the jewels that I used, the beads that I used, and this is a coilless paper clip that I just stuck on this little lace tab here. Here is a little self-portrait that I just added directly to my page in my Word document before I tea dyed. I put a little paper clip up here and I made a flashcard that said Kindred Spirit because I really feel a kindred connection to Vincent van Gogh. Here's another gorgeous image of his, and I added a little pocket to the side here so you can stick anything you want. These little postcards I got from one of Mrs. Cogg's classes. And so they're just sort of like placeholders for whatever you want to place inside of the little pocket. This pulls out, as you can see, and is a gorgeous rendition of the Starry Night. This is actually digital paper that I got on Etsy, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. I had to have it in my journal. Here's another beautiful painting of his with the a side pocket, and I also added a flashcard with the word hope, and the quote says, "Normality is a paved road. It's comfortable to walk, but no flowers grow on it." Here's a little shallow pocket here with some lace, again just some design paper. Another flashcard that I made, a postcard that I made. This is one that looks like graph paper almost, but it is a different kind of index card, and it is tea dyed, and I did sew on this black and white image here of this girl knitting, one of his sketches, and just added it to this pocket here. And these lace and pockets were also glued down with Fabri-Tac, so they are going to stick really good for you. Here's one that I love, and this quote says, "I want to touch people with my art. I want them to say he feels deeply, he feels tenderly." And I love how he painted the peasants and everyday people doing everyday things, manual labor, things that the bourgeois would not find very exciting or interesting, and he painted them, and they resonate with so many people, including myself. So just love that. I have a little index card that's tea dyed behind it, and I've just folded it so it's folded to fit, but you can journal on the front and the back, and I just made a little peasant's index card to slide in to show that this is a pocket that you could slide something into if you wish. And then up top here I have a little a flashcard that I made that says soul. He just had such a soul. I just love him. And then here's a little tea dyed tag with some washi tape at the bottom. all of what you see, the things that are in the pockets, everything that you see in this walkthrough comes with this journal. So here is the center of our first signature. By the way, this junk journal has 5 signatures, so it's a big one, as I stated. I just added some little tags here with some design paper that I felt kind of coordinated. Here I glued, this is one of those awesome images that he's famous for, called Sorrow. I sewed it to canvas and then glued it to the page. This is just decorative here. This is not a side pocket. This is just decorative tea-dyed flower lace. And then here's one of those sketches that I placed directly on the page before tea dyeing. Lots of stenciling, as you can see. Little shallow pocket with another little index card that I have stitched an image on. Here I have what's called an owl clip, which enables you to place 2 fun little beaded elements at the top, and one of these has a star on it with the Starry Night theme. They both actually have stars on them. I think I showed it better when I did the close-ups a moment before, but this is what's clipping. What this clip is for is this beautiful painting here. This is one of mine, and like I said, I either glued the title of the paintings. They will come in my digital printout on Etsy, so you can cut them out if you wish, and I either glued mine to the page or to the back of the image if it's clipped in. So I glued it to the back of my image. It's called Landscape Under a Stormy Sky is what this particular painting is called. Of course, you could leave the titles out completely. It's not a big deal. I just included them in the digital printout. Here is another digital paper that I folded and cut to fit into this journal. This is one of his last works, and it's a hayfield with crows. It's beautiful. I have it in another place in the journal as well, but this is a more larger size of it, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Here is a stone bench in the garden of St. Paul Hospital, where he was sent in Arles, this little town of Arles. It looks like Arles. I think we English would probably pronounce it Arles, but I actually used a vocal Siri type device. I don't want to say, it's Alexa, and if I say her name, she's going to start talking. So, but I actually asked her how to pronounce it, and it's Arles is apparently how you pronounce that town. But that's the town where Van Gogh had the little yellow house, and he roomed with Gogh for a while, who was another famous painter of the time period, and he cut off his ear during that time period. So he was sent to this hospital before he was sent to the mental institution. So I have a little flashcard here where I wrote madness. I know I can relate, having some mental health issues, and I think that's why he's such a kindred spirit to me. The quote here says, "I shouldn't precisely have chosen madness if there had been any choice, but once such a thing has taken hold of you, you can't very well get out of it." If you read his letters, which I definitely recommend, I have done so, he wanted to live so badly. He just had so many mental health issues, but he wanted to beat them, and he wanted to live because he loved life. And I find that so inspiring. Just love him. So here is another just black and white sketch of his that I just put right on the page before tea dyeing. And this is a view of Paris with the opera. Here's just some fun little what do you call what is this called? Column paper? Just something different to add to your journals. It's just a different kind of paper that a lot of people add to their junk journals. I loved this fabric. It's blue, and it has these gold kind of dots in it that almost look like stars. So I have a lot of these as tabs throughout the journal. Lots of quotes here. Of course, his best friend was his brother Theo. I have a little tag in here in the little Theo postcard that I made, and I just had an old stamp of a quill pen and a hand writing, and I thought that kind of went perfectly with this. So here's another stamp that I used of a little ink pen from the time. Again, just to show homage to his prolific writing. This is just the back of some design paper. Here is the hospital still in a beautiful picture it is, and I've just paper clipped it in, and I have glued the title to the back. Here's the corridor of the asylum now, and the garden of the asylum, which is one of the sketches that I just, again, placed right on the paper before tea dyeing. Here's a little tag that I placed in. This is a pocket, so that tag just kind of tells who receives this journal that is a little tuck spot where you could tuck something. Here's Vincent's window from the asylum where he was placed, and the little quote I have here is, "I put my heart and soul into my work and have lost my mind in the process." This is also another tuck spot, and I just put a little postcard and the flashcard artist, because he certainly was, even though he wasn't appreciated in his time. He did spend a lot of time in Paris before going to Arles. And he lived with his brother Theo. He kind of showed up unannounced, and it's kind of a funny story. Theo is very neat and tidy and hygienic and clean, and Van Gogh was quite the opposite. So they had some brotherly arguments, if you will, about the living arrangement. But while he was in Paris, he did some beautiful work. He did a whole series of the river Seine in Paris, and just different scenes. So here's one, and I sewed it onto a piece of burlap, as you can see, some dark blue burlap that goes with the color theme here. Here's a wheat field with a cypress on the right here, again just one I placed on the paper. Here is a design paper, road with cypress star. I love this particular painting. I wish I had enlarged it a little bit, but because it's one of my favorites. But anyway, that's sewed on there. Here's a girl kneeling that I again placed right on the page before tea dyeing. Some design paper, some of that graph paper. And then here I have a little flashcard that says Arles, because again, he did spend quite a bit of time there. I put a little tag in, again, with some washi tape at the bottom. It's a great deal on that washi tape. I'll try to remember to link it below. I just got it right off of Amazon. This is a little booklet that I made of some of his sketches. So I just used some design paper, stitched the sketch onto some canvas, and then glued it onto the front of the booklet. And then inside the booklet I have tea dyed pages from many composition books such as these that come. I got these at Walmart. You get 3 in a pack for $1, and I tea dyed all of these pages and then sewed on various sketches, as you can see here. I just loved this little booklet, and there's plenty of room for journaling in here as well. And I just thought it was a really fun little tribute. And I did the pamphlet stitch, which is the same stitch that I used to adhere all of the signatures to the journal. I used the same stitch for this little booklet, so I have some little circles just in the middle there with the design paper. The drinkers, this is a great one. I love that painting. And then just more sketches at the end here. Again, plenty of room to journal in here as well. So I just stuck this in this little pocket. And here's a little tag. I think I already pulled that out and showed you. I'm sorry. Here's that little charm. That's the paint palette that I showed you. Here's one of my favorite paintings ever, which is the Cafe Terrace. We call it the Night Cafe, but its full name is Cafe Terrace on the Place du Forum Arles at night. And I know I messed that up. I wish I could speak French, but I can't. So anyway, here's another one that I've paper clipped on, and I have glued the title on the back. I won't go through them all. Here is the little yellow house. In black and white. Vincent sketched it first before painting it, and he had this great idea that he was going to have this house where all of the painters of the time could come and stay and learn from each other. And Gogh was his first guest, and of course we know it didn't work out, but this is his sketch of the yellow house in Arles, and here's his little chair that he painted. It's called Vincent's Chair with His Pipe. And then here I have several pages that I have stuck into this journal from a book that was published in the 1950s. And it just has some information about Van Gogh, where he was born. It's just the very beginning of the book. So it has a lot of really interesting information in it. And so I thought it would be fun to include that. So there's the first few pages. Here's a page where I've placed a signature of his from one of his paintings right on the page before tea dyeing. And then you open this up. Here's the night cafe inside of it, which is kind of neat. It's still in Arles, of course. And then here is the center of the second signature, where I've just placed two beautiful sketches that he did. I love these. I just think that they are absolutely gorgeous. So they needed to just kind of have full page, you know, real estate. I just love them. So here's another painting and another signature of his that I have placed on the page. And then here is the rest of the little tear out I did of the book. It's an old antique book I found at a used bookstore. And it comes with the journal, and I just think it's wonderful. And the writing is very interesting, and you can read it, the words, and I think it's fabulous to include in the journal. All right, here's just a little interior of a restaurant painting that he did. As we keep going here, here's the view of Arles from a hill. This is one of the dance halls in Arles. It's paper clipped on. And then this is, of course, I put a little, this is the trees in the garden of the St. Paul Hospital, where he was taken before he went to the asylum. And I put a little postcard in here that says brave, and this is one of my tea-dyed index cards. This is the postman who delivered all of the mail in Arles, and I forget his name at the moment, but he and Vincent became very dear friends because Vincent wrote so many letters and Theo wrote back so often that they saw each other often, and he was kind of an advocate for Vincent. The town, once Vincent cut off his ear, the town kind of voted to send him away. That he was dangerous, and this man was always very kind to Vincent and was one of his few friends besides Theo. So I had to include this painting in this journal. I just stuck this as a little tuck spot, and I just stuck a little sketch of a man writing in the side here, but of course you could put whatever you want in these pockets. Here's the inside of the hospital painting there. Little lace pocket where you can again stick tall things, anything you like. Just some more pages. Here's some sketches he did of hands. A painter on his way to work. And the quote that I put with this is, "The beginning is perhaps more difficult than anything else, but keep heart, it will turn out all right." By the way, I forgot to mention this sunflower tabs that you see throughout the journal on the sides. That is also something I got from Etsy, where I got the same almond branch fabric. This is a painting of his that someone placed on fabric, and I will have a link to that below. Here's a little stamp that I had. It says, "Letters are visits when friends are apart." I loved that, and this is just postcard design paper. Keep going here. This is just a sketch he did of a weaver with a baby in a high chair. It's so sweet in person. 2 cut sunflowers. And now we are on the third signature. This is very sweet. This one is called First Steps, and I have it paper clipped in so you can take it out, because this is one of my absolute favorite paintings of his. And then you open it up, and here's another sketch he did of a family, and I have the word love tucked in there in that pocket. I'm going to go a little faster now because the video is just going to be way too long, and I'm just going to take you through the rest of this as fast as I can. A little tuck spot here. Here's a self-portrait that he did. Some more of that parchment paper. Here's another one of those pullouts of a beautiful cypress tree that he did with all the clouds, and you can really see the beautiful brush strokes. Here's that sunflower charm that we talked about earlier. Like I said, he spent a lot of time in Paris, and he spent a lot of time painting and sketching views of Montmartre. which is a little suburb of Paris at the time, and it's where a lot of the Impressionist painters like Renoir and Monet painted. Here's a beautiful painting that he did, a fisherman painting. Keep going here. This is a restaurant that he painted. Here's a sketch of the same restaurant, which I thought from a different angle, which I thought was pretty cool to place those together. Here's the center of that third signature with just these beautiful sketches. I loved this one, this French peasant woman suckling her baby. I just thought that was absolutely exquisite. So keep going. Here's a little restaurant menu that he sketched on, which I just thought was really neat. So I just placed it on the page before tea dyeing. A little pocket here. This is one of my favorites. A mother cradling her baby at the fireplace. It's called Man is at Sea. Here's a painting over here. Lots of paintings. Again, some are directly on the page. They are sketches. Here's a pullout of digital paper that I got from Etsy that is absolutely gorgeous. This is a little side pocket, and I have a tea-dyed index card in there, and I have Kindred Spirit. This is a self-portrait of Van Gogh, or a photograph rather, of Van Gogh. And so of course you can journal on this, and you could stick lots of things in this side pocket here with this beautiful lace if you like. And then on the back I have this huge picture that I just love, and it is called Woman Crying. And the quote I chose with this is, "The sadness will last forever." Just thought this was very poignant. Here's his shoes. He liked to paint shoes, and it's a tuck spot there. Keep going. Here's a little tuck spot there, a little pocket. Here is a public soup kitchen sketch that he did. Keep going. Here's a beautiful wheat field, and I just stuck a little sketch that he did in there. Here is his sunflowers, and the quote I have for this first section, for this signature for the first page, is, "The sunflower is mine in a way." He loves sunflowers. So you turn this over, and I made a little pocket out of this, and I have sunflowers little saying there in a postcard. It slips right down into that pocket. Some stamps, and we have got all these beads and charms. Here's that yellow house that he painted. I showed you the sketch earlier. Here it is painted in Arles, and that's Vincent's chair, and this is Gauguin's chair. And then here is a letter from Van Gogh to Gauguin with like a sketch of the room, and it's written in French, so I don't really know what he said, but I thought it was really cool. Love this. This is just a peasant couple napping after a hard day of labor. Tuck spot here. Pocket here. A sketch here that he did of Sienne. This was a prostitute that he fell in love with. She had lots of children. It didn't end up working out, but he did lots of sketches of her house, and even her mother's house, I believe. Just some lace to decorate there, tea-dyed. Here's just a sketch that he did. This is the asylum sketch that he did there. And I have the madness little quote there. Anvers is where he went after he went to the asylum, and that's where he met Dr. Gogh, who helped him, and he ultimately ended up dying in Anvers. I've read lots of books about Van Gogh over the years, and the new books seem to indicate that, contrary to what older books had stated, Van Gogh did not kill himself. He was accidentally shot by some boys playing cowboys, and he didn't want anyone to get in trouble. So when he got himself back to the hotel where he was staying, and he told the doctor that he shot himself because he didn't want these kids to get in trouble. So noble to the end, and there seems to be a lot of evidence now to back that up, and most historians seem to be on that wavelength. So that is what I choose to believe. But anyway, these are some scenes from Anvers. This lady right here is Dr. Gauch's daughter, She would visit Vincent's grave often. And this lady here is the daughter of the innkeeper where he stayed and where he ultimately died, and in his brother's arms. Luckily, Theo made it before he ended up dying. And this is also Dr. Gog's daughter. Here she's playing the piano. And Vincent painted this, and she never took it off her wall for her whole entire life. So here's some little houses in Auvers. And this is Dr. Gog's garden here. So to go quickly, and I keep telling you guys all these stories that I've read, I'm sorry. Here's the sketch he did of the night cafe before he painted it, which I just had to include because I love that one. Here's the house at Auvers. Here's a church at Auvers. I don't know if I'm saying that right. You guys know I don't speak French. I love this photograph. I mean, this painting here is called Girl in White in the Woods. It's beautiful. Another sunflower painting. Here's a pocket, and I just stuck a little postcard in there. Here's a sketch. I have a little index card here that I've stitched on a couple walking on the front. And on the back, I've made it a pocket, and I just stuck a little tag just to show the recipient that that is a tuck spot. And that just goes right underneath that paper clip. So here's some restaurant scenes. Here's the Potato Eaters, which was his first masterpiece. And here is something that he didn't have a lot of money, so he would use canvases and sketch pads and things like that, paper he would use for multiple things. So here you see this right here is the studies of the interior of a cottage, and then up here, and it's sideways, you have to turn the book this way to see it, but it's a sketch of the Potato Eaters before he painted it. I thought that was really cool. Here's a pocket. These are irises that he painted that I just sewed onto some burlap. Here's some book paintings that he did. And the quote that I put with those is, "So often a visit to the bookshop has cheered me and reminded me that there are good things in the world." As an avid reader, I just had to include those in this journal. These I did a couple different places, add a little tassel to a tab, which I thought just was a fun little addition. Here's a woman in her sewing wheel. Here we have just some more beautiful paintings and sketches. And this is a little tuck spot here. Little tuck spot here. This is a view of Paris from Montmartre. I'm not exactly sure how to say that. Here's a beautiful pocket made with that beautiful lace that we saw on the front of the book. Here's a man reading with a sketch. A peasant couple. Kind of looks like they're arguing there. Another pocket painting. That's windmill there. More of Arles. Well, it's Arles. We would probably say it differently, but again, sketch of his bedroom. Here's the wheat field with crows again, which is stitched on. Beautiful painting there. Here is the inside, the center of the last signature. I didn't know how printing with a little bit of color. He did this mostly sketch with a little bit of chalk color, and I didn't know how this would turn out when I Okay, sorry if there was a little bump there. My camera battery died. So I think we were right here on this page, which is the center of the last signature of the journal. And these were just two sketches that Van Gogh did that I placed directly on the paper before tea dyeing it. And I wasn't sure, this one he did a little bit of chalk coloring, and I wasn't sure how that was going to come out when it was tea dyed, and it's just perfect. I love it. So I was really happy with how that came out. Here's just a pocket. This is just to show that you could, fit tons of stuff in this pocket. This is just a little placeholder. Here's a little paper clipped, beautiful painting that he did. And I did a lot of paper clipping so that you could have tons of room to write, and then you can just paper clip over what you write instead of sewing. I did a lot of sewing too, but that's why there's a lot of paper clips. Here's one that's sewed in with a little tuck spot on the right side. This is a little tuck spot here on an index card of a sketch. Here's another sketch that I just put directly on the paper. Here is a really, really fun stamp that I found at Hobby Lobby. It's right where their wooden stamps are. This is what it looks like. And it was perfect for this journal. It's a postcard and it's written in French. And we know, obviously, that Theo wrote to his brother in French. Here's a paper clipping of a bunch of letters. I'm not going to pull them all out just because this video is already long enough. But there are 2 letters to Theo and 1 letter, I believe, to Gogh, paper clipped in here. And they're really cool to look at. They are exact copies of the originals, which is really, really neat. Here's a sketch he did of a peasant woman inside sewing. Here's I stitched this one into the book. This is called Orphan Man Sitting Drinking. He did a lot of sketches of this man who he called the Orphan Man. Little tuck spot here. I just put a little tag in there. Again, here's that little pen charm there. Here's the pocket, tuck spot, and then paper clipped. Beautiful image there and a sketch there. Beautiful painting here. I loved this. And here's another one. And then we have, this is a woman praying before her meal sketch. And then this is a little painting that he did of a peasant woman with her hair loose, and I just stuck that in this little tuck spot. And then on the last page is a self-portrait that he did, my favorite of his. I put some blue dyed cheesecloth behind it and then sewed it onto some canvas. And then, of course, I added to the page his signature. And then finally, we have the back of the inside of the back cover, which mirrors the front cover. It has this fabric, which is the almond branch painting that he did. And I just added a pocket here and stitched onto canvas a beautiful image that he painted. So that's it. That is my Van Gogh journal. And as you can see, it's a big one, but it's very usable. It opens, enables you to write wherever you want to write in the journal. I will send clothespins with whoever buys this journal, and they are helpful for just keeping the pages open while you want to write it in a particular location. It'll keep the pages open for you so you can just focus on what you're writing and the pages will stay open for you. So I will send some clothespins for that purpose. And that's about it, guys. I really hope that you love this junk journal that I made. I put so much thought and love into this. Like I said, it was a hard decision to decide to sell it. So check it out in my Etsy shop if you're interested and you don't see it in my Etsy shop yet. My email address will be below in the description box, so feel free to email me. Again, this is what it looks like from the top. You can see all those beautiful beads that we have, and I just love them all so much. And we have this flower bead and the stars and just all the beautiful beads and how they color coordinate with the color palettes that he was most that he used the most. So anyway, I hope that you loved the journal. Remember, this is the side tassel that is removable. It just is clipped on through this ring to the clip, to the binder clip. And I just did not have it fully fastened here. So we'll just fix that real quick. And then the binder clip just clips right onto the side or to the spine, right up top there. Super easy to remove if you wanted the journal to lay flat, but really beautiful to look at on the side of the journal if the journal is on a bookcase or something. So anyway, that's it. Thank you guys so much for stopping by, for hanging with me in this really long video and learning about Van Gogh with me for a little bit. And I hope that you love the journal. I'll be back soon with another journal. Thank you so much, as always, for stopping by, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.